style is the invitational style. Kind of revision, the first one was the direct style lecturing. The second one was intellectual for the atheist people. The third one was the testimonial, telling story. And the fourth was the interpersonal. The fifth is the invitational. The invitational, I can see the Samaritan woman is the best example. The Samaritan had nothing to do with intellectual functioning or the lecturing problems or the social activities. She is such a simple woman, lived her life in sin, but she is very good in inviting people. She could move the whole country, the whole city. So her role as evangelist is kind of invitation. She was very much successful in inviting people. One day, one servant came to me and told me, I wish to speak like you and other priests. I told him, by the way, I wish to be like you because you are very much successful in bringing people to the church. And he's really so. So sometimes you want to be different from your style, but actually you are doing a great job in your way. So for those who can succeed in inviting people, the church needs these people, need this character of invitational style. It was mentioned in the parable given by the Lord, and the master said to the servant, go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in. Compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. So this will not tell anyone any lecture. They will not, argue about truth and lies, but they will invite people. The traits of this style, he should be very much hospitable, persuasive. He enjoys meeting new people. He is such a passionate, enthusiastic man, and also opportunistic, because being invitational, you should make use of any opportunity to give a flyer, to give the Bible, to direct one to some site on the net, to speak about God, to help him come to the church. So make use of any opportunity available. Be cautious, then do not let others do all the talking for you. Your friends and acquaintances need to hear how Christ influenced your life. And also, he is patient, he is concerned about the others, he sees needs and finds joy in meeting them, he shows love through action more than words, and he attached value to even mental tasks. So this one is very much important for the church. He should be careful and prayerful, because we should consider events or church services you take people to, look for the ones that are spiritual speakers. Because, one day I invited one of my colleagues in the university to some youth meeting. And this friend was not into a man of the church, so he never listened to any sermon. So when he came with me to the youth meeting, on that day, more than 35 years ago, the sermon was about the rituals of the Old Testament. So I felt so sorry for him, because this lecture was not suitable for such a newcomer. So it was my mistake that I invited him to the youth meeting and I did not know the subject or the speaker. For a new one to come to the church, we need to bring him the easiest and the simplest the sermon. Do not get discouraged if people refuse your invitation. Their refusal could be an opportunity for a spiritual conversation. Their no today may become a yes tomorrow. So for invitational styles, they shouldn't lose hope. They should be consistent in inviting everyone. The last style, the serving style. And this is the typical Catholic way of evangelism. Because, the Catholic Church is busy making schools, making hospitals, because they believe so much in this style. But it's not the only style of evangelism. Again, there is the direct style of lecturing, the interpersonal style, the intellectual style, the invitational style, the testimonial style, and the last one, not the last meaning that less important. No, it's very important. This is the serving style. It was written in chapter 9 in the book of Acts, the story about Tabitha. Tabitha was a woman, maybe an old woman servant in the church who tend to care for the poor women. And people loved her and loved her Christ because of her service. This attitude is very successful with the poor people. Generally, the poor people are very much touched by the serving attitude. When you serve them, you like to follow you and follow your God. So the serving style is very much successful in bringing many people to salvation. As was written in Matthew, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Be cautious. Remember that although words are no substitute for actions, actions are no substitute for words. Either in Romans, Paul said that we must verbally tell people about Christ. You can do this in many ways as you point to him as the central motivation for your act of service. Simply, we had a nice doctor, he's like 80-something, and when he examined any African guy, child or he always saying, by the way, I want to tell you one important thing. Christ sent me to you. For all patients, he kept saying the same sentence. And he knew this sentence in Ghani language and other language just to tell them this. Christ sent me. Because such a nice old man helping them, giving them freely everything, that was a great mission and great attitude. Also, do not underestimate the value of your service. It's your style that will reach the hardest to reach people. Acts of loving service are hard to resist and difficult to argue with. You all know Mother Teresa. She could change millions of people with no single word. With her school of serving the poor, she could affect the salvation of millions of people just by this serving attitude. Again, I'm not saying that there is no value of speaking the word. No, we need to have the invitational character, the interpersonal one, the intellectual servant, the direct style. We need all, even the testimonial ones, but also the serving servant. Be discerning as to how much you can do realistically without depriving yourself or your family of needed care and attention. So you have to discern what you do, what you shouldn't do. This is now the brief. We have 6 styles of evangelism at least. Direct style, intellectual, testimonial, interpersonal, invitational, and serving style. By the way, all of you have more than one trait, one style. But you will be like major in one thing. You will be major lecturing, major in the direct, and less testimonial, maybe less invitational. Some of you may be very high in invitational attitude, but is very low in the direct, lecturing attitude. Okay, there is no problem, because these 6 are very much needed by the church.